You know the rhythm of Christian Holy Week, right? It's got these two giant, well-known poles. The deep sorrow of Good Friday, and then, boom, the explosive joy of Easter Sunday.
I mean, just look at the contrast. On one side, you have the cross. You've got that heartbreaking cry, my God, why have you forsaken me?" and the finality of, "It is finished." But on the other side, you have the empty tomb and that triumphant shout, "He is risen." These are the two massive moments that the whole story hangs on.
But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What about that Saturday? The day that's just tucked in between the cross and the empty tomb. It's this day of total silence where it feels like absolutely nothing is happening. And that's the mystery we're going to dig into today. So let's get into it. We're calling this first part, The Day God Was Silent, because we're going to explore why this often forgotten day might actually hold a crucial key to faith in our modern world. And here is the absolute heart of the matter, the main idea we're chasing. Holy Saturday teaches us that the silence of God is not the same thing as the absence of God. It's like it gives us a language, a sort of grammar for faith, for all those times in our own lives when God feels really, really distant.
Okay, so let's go deeper. Section 2, Descent into the Depths. Because this day wasn't just a 24-hour pause button. Nope. While the world just saw a sealed-up tomb, Christian tradition says this time was absolutely charged with this hidden, world-changing action. So what was actually going on in there?
You know, there's this incredible ancient homily that just nails the paradox of this day. It says, "Something strange is happening. There is a great silence on earth today." On the surface, it's all stillness. It says, the king is asleep. But here's the thing. This sleep isn't inactivity. This silence is the quiet before something absolutely profound happens in the deep. And that profound event has a name, the harrowing of hell. You know, when the Apostles' Creed says he descended to the dead, this is what it's talking about. This wasn't an empty pause. It was a rescue mission. Christ goes into the realm of the dead to proclaim his victory to everyone who came before. And this brings up a totally mind-bending idea. It means that redemption isn't just for the future, it's retrospective. It's like the power of the cross ripples backward through time to liberate all the people who are waiting, all the ones who came before. So, who are we talking about here? Well, if you look at ancient Christian art and theology, you see these amazing images of Christ liberating figures like Adam and Eve, all the patriarchs, the prophets, basically all the righteous souls of the Old Covenant. He's often shown literally grabbing them by the wrist and pulling them out from the grasp of death. It's so powerful. Okay, so that's the ancient theology. But what does any of this have to do with us? Let's talk about connecting this idea to our own lives, because this is where it gets really personal. This is all about waiting in the in-between. Holy Saturday gives us this powerful way to understand what theologians sometimes call divine hiddenness. And you know what that is. It's that feeling of God's total absence when you're suffering, or you're filled with doubt, or your prayers just seem to hit the ceiling. Holy Saturday tells us that this feeling, it's not a bug in the system, it's an integral part of the whole salvation story.
There's a great word for this, liminal space. It basically means you're on a threshold. You're not where you used to be, but you're not yet where you're going. It's that in-between state. And Holy Saturday is the ultimate liminal day. The old is finished, but the new hasn't visibly started yet. And let's be honest, we all have those liminal spaces in our own lives, don't we?
And when we're in that liminal space, it brings up two huge temptations. The first is nostalgia, just clinging to a past that's gone and you can't get back. And the second is impatience, demanding a happy ending, a resolution right now on our own terms. So this is all fascinating theology, but what do we do with it? How do we actually live it out? That brings us to our next section, living through the silence, and how this way of thinking can actually shape our lives. Well, the thinking here points to 5 key practices for when you're in that wait. First, making space for reverent silence, just being quiet and holding our wounds before God. Second, praying lament, using things like the Psalms to be brutally honest about our pain. Third is keeping vigil, which is really just about patient faithfulness when it feels like nothing's happening. Fourth, anchoring ourselves in God's promises. And finally, and this is so important, standing in solidarity with other people who are in their own long, dark, holy Saturdays. All right, let's bring this all home. Hope in the hidden drama. We started with the mystery of this silent day, and now we can start to see the incredible hope that's actually hidden right inside of it. So here's the first big idea to hold on to. The experience of silence is very, very real, but that silence does not equal absence. Just because we can't hear God or see Him at work, it doesn't mean nothing is happening.
And that leads to the second point. That time of waiting is not an empty void. It's actually a formative space. It's a threshold where we're being prepared for whatever is coming next, even if we can't see it or feel it at all.
And that brings us to the final, absolutely crucial point. Even when all we can see is a sealed tomb, what looks like a total dead end, God is at work in the depths, preparing a victory that is beyond anything we can imagine.
So what Holy Saturday really teaches us is to look for God not just in the big, triumphant Easter Sunday moments, but in the quiet intervals too, in the silence, in the depths, in all those unseen places where resurrection is already secretly beginning. Now that is a profound shift in where we find our hope.